Sure enough, there it is down there. Okay, it's recording. All right, so it says on your own, it says a hiker climbs 900 feet a mountain, and it says write a positive or negative integer that represents the situation. So let me pull a stick here. So somebody climbs 900 feet. Miss Ryan, what number would that be?
900.
900. Nicely done. Put up 20 points for your group. Number 2, Mr. Rainbolt. It says you have a debt of $24. How would you write that number? No? Okay. Miss Russell, number 2, you have a debt of $24. How would you write that number? Nope. Mr. Williams, how would you write that number?
I don't know.
Miss Gossage, how would you write that number?
Just discussed it.
Negative 24.
How many sticks did you
Okay, so 80 points. Nicely done.
80 points?
Number 3, Mr. Orweller, a student loses 5 points for being late to class. How would you write that? Negative 5. And then number 4, saving accounts earns Mr. Laboutier $10. How would you write that number? 10. Okay. Yeah, so 20 points, 20 points. Mr. Williams, erase points. All right. Moving on here. Example number 2. It says graph each integer and its opposite. So if you had a graph like they've got here, and they had number 3 marked or graphed, and they said graph the opposite, well, then you would put a dot also over negative 3. And then in example number 2 here, let's say you start with a negative number, and it says graph negative 2 and its opposite. So you would start with negative 2 where that is, and then its opposite is 2. And let me point out something that they mentioned earlier. Notice again that the opposites, Miss Harley, are the same distance from 0. So Miss Harley, look at negative 3 here. How far is that from 0 on the number line?
2 places.
Okay, I was talking about number 3. Miss Werner, how far is this from 0 on the number line? 3. And that's worth 50 points. And the reason is because I was asking how far it is, not what the number is. So take a look here. 1, 2, 3. Negative 3 is 3 from 0 on the number line. Just like if I was to ask you how far 3 is from 0, well, the answer is 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, if I was to ask somebody, how far is negative 5 from 0 on the number line? Miss Scott, how far is negative 5 from 0?
5 away from.
It's 5 away. That's exactly right. Put up 20 points. And then Mr. Lesueur, if I was to ask its opposite, how far is 5 from 0 on the number line?
5.
5, okay. So when we're talking about distance from 0 on the number line, it's always positive. So keep that in mind. That's going to come into play later on. All right? So let's move down a little bit further here. Real life applications. What do they got here? It says you deliver flowers to an office building. You enter at ground level and go down 2 floors, make a delivery, and then you go up 7 floors and make a second delivery. And then it says write an integer for each position. Well, let's look at the first one. You deliver flowers to an office building. You enter at ground level. So we could just say 0 is ground level. And then it says you go down 2 floors.
How do you go down?
Oh, maybe they have,
Dug underground. Oh, that's, okay.
okay. They have, yeah, basements. Some buildings you can go underground. So you go down 2 floors. And so then you've got a -2. And then you go up 7 floors. All right, so I'm going to draw a stick here, see who's thinking about this. Miss Censor. So right now, you are 2 floors down, and you go up 7 floors. What floor would you end up on? Think about it. You could just, you know how a moment ago, how I just counted along the number line? Well, you could do the same thing with this little graph here that I drew. So you're at -2. Do you know what floor you would end up on if you went 7 floors up?
The 7th floor?
No, that's what most people would think. Good try. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so the question is, what floor is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 5th floor. So you would end up on the 5th floor. And you can look at, and you'll have lots of problems like this. Let me draw a number line to kind of emphasize this point here. All right, so here's 0, -1, -2, -3, -4. All right, so here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4. Think about this. If I said, starting with -3, and you were to add 5, raise your hand if you think you know what the answer would be. Starting with -3, we would add 5. -3 plus 5 equals. Most of you, okay, let's pull a stick here. Mr. Conyers, where do you think you would end up? Didn't you have your hand up? No? Okay, sorry. Won't pick on you then. Mr. Alcama, you had your hand up? 2, okay. So let's see if he's right. He's saying it would be 2. Let me draw that right there, and let me change my settings